like to welcome you to the Sedona Yoga Center. My name is Richard Eagle.
And I'm Sherry Richards.
And we're involved with bringing the Mayan calendar to different communities around the country. And today we're going to be talking about the harmonic convergence, the last harmonic convergence and what it was really about. What's known as the time shift, the Mayan calendar, and the board game Dream Spell, which is a Mayan calendar kit to help you understand the Mayan calendar. And also to look up your birthday on the calendar and to ask questions and then to spend some time networking at the end.
The harmonic convergence is all based on the timing cycles of the Mayan calendar. This is part of the Dream Spell kit, which is what Jose Arguelles put into a board game. It's the Mayan calendar on a board. And basically, the way the Mayan calendar works, it's a 260-day calendar. It's a sacred calendar, which spins within the 365-day solar calendar. So, let me get this in its right position here. So if you put the first day of the calendar, which is right here, which is one dragon, and you match it up with January 1st, it would take 52 years for this calendar to spin back around and this day match up with January 1st. And that's a 52-year cycle, a small cycle. And the cycles get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Right now, we're getting ready to close out the year 2013 with a very large cycle.
Most of us became aware of the Mayan calendar, or else harmonic convergence, back in 1987. And it was talked about in many different ways. The Mayans had known about the harmonic convergence for hundreds of years. And what it was based on a prophecy. They had foreseen, predicted. They used this as a time board, as a timing board, to see resonant events happening. And they predicted exactly to the day when Cortez would invade Mexico. They foresaw it and predicted it, and it happened. And that would begin 9 cycles of 52 years each. And they called them hell cycles, for good reason. Because that was the beginning of the destruction of their culture. And so, August 16th and 17th, 1987, harmonic convergence, number 1, was the end of those 9 hell cycles. And it also began the last 26 years of the grand cycle of time, 5,200-year cycle, which completes in the year 2013. This, which I'm going to be passing around, is the galactic compass. This is part of the game, board game. And what it shows is 1987, and then it goes to 2000, and then from 2000 to the year 2013. The Mayans work with 13 tones, 13 numbers. They call them the tones of creation, 13 tones of creation. So you can divide these 26 years into 2 cycles of 13 years each. And on the back side, we have a 13-moon calendar. July 26 is always the Mayan New Year. And so that next year we'll be celebrating New Year, Mayan New Year, on July 26th also. And so these begin at 28-day periods. And so that cycle of 13 is seen in 13 months. It's seen in 13 years. It's seen in 13 days, 13 weeks. They use the cycle of 13, the 13 full moons in the sky. That's where that pulse is from, 13 full moons. Now, of course, we know that the exact number of full moons every year ranges between 12 and occasionally 13. But most cultures use a 13-moon calendar. thousands of years before the Gregorian and Julian calendars were ever introduced. And does anyone know why we're using the Gregorian calendar? Yeah, this was based upon the Babylonian astrological system of 360, and then that's divided perfectly into 12. And I also just recently read an article saying that the politics of that was to get women off of their moon cycles, to take the power off of the female, because before the matriarchal systems developed 5,200 years ago, we were using a 13-moon calendar that was a female-based nature system.
And it's taken us all off of, not only women, but everyone, off of the natural connection with the sky, the moon, the earth. We don't feel the vibrations as easily because we're so busy on this daily cycle and the work week and da-da-da-da-da, and there's no time to really connect in, feel what's happening around us.
So that's the basis of one part of the equation. We're going to be talking about what's known as the 13-20 ratio. A ratio is the same no matter how big it gets. Like if I was to draw this design, this spiral design on a balloon, and to blow it up, there would be the ratio would be the same. It would be, no matter how big I blew it, that spiral in ratio form would still be there. So this calendar is based on cycles of 13. 13 days, 13 weeks, 13 months, 13 years, 13 centuries. It's expansive, it's a time word, it can be contracted or expanded depending on how you want to use it. The other part of the equation, 1320, has to do with the 20 symbols. Most systems of belief on the planet are based in cycles of symbols 20 to 23. And this system uses 20. And it's interesting that our bodies use symbols to communicate everything on the cellular level. And that's the amino acids. The body uses 20 amino acids to communicate everything on the cellular level. Now there's 22 amino acids out there, but the body uses just 20. So the body is using 20 symbols to communicate all information. When you look at amino acids, it's vibration patterns, it's music in motion. It's also interesting that we have 20 fingers and toes connected into one being. And so there's that relationship with 20. Also, when you look at the Earth has a magnetic field around it. It's documented by NASA. There's pictures of it. It's the electromagnetic field around the Earth, and guess what? It's 20-sided. So there's 20 fields. Our body uses 20 energy fields. We have 20 fingers and toes. The Earth has 20 parts to its magnetic field. So we're using a 13 pulse and a 20 symbolic field in combination. 13 times 20 is 260. So we're working with a 260-day calendar, a 260-day time field. This one that we're in, we're 38 days into it, which began on June 18th and ends on March 4th. The last one began on October 1st of 1991 and went up to June 17th. So we're working with this time field. It's a resonant energy field. Everything in the universe, from our bodies to galaxies, are based on resonant cycles of energies as they flow back and forth. And there's a book out called Alphabet of the Heart. This is a man who worked with NASA, worked with sacred languages, and he totally explains how everything is connected as a vibration pattern. His name is Dan Winter, and he lives in Eden, New York. And basically, he developed this tool to show us the universe as pattern. Now, this is called the Torus donut, okay? And this has the 7 basic colors, and all the colors touch exactly with the same surface area. Amazing, isn't it? You can get 7 colors to line up and to touch. And then on there's a spiral that goes around this. And this spiral is called the golden mean spiral. In science, it's the only vibration pattern that nests with everything else. It's the most harmonious one. It's not the only one, but it's the most harmonious one. And when you feel love in your heart, it creates the same vibration octave as this golden mean spiral. So this golden mean spiral puts shapes together. It puts, in geometry, we're learning all about shapes and how they're all put together. And basically, then when we feel love in our hearts, it creates the best vibration in order to build structure. So when you're feeling love in your heart, you're building your immune system. And when you're feeling anger, you're taking apart your immune system. So there's a relationship of vibrations that build things and take things apart. And so what we find within the Mayan calendar is the same patterns that match the table of the elements. So this calendar has the same mathematical ratio, 1320, as the golden mean spiral, as the table of the elements, as the octave of music, because there's 13 days, there's 13 tones, there's 13 steps between C and C, including the C's. So this is a natural 13-step program, 13-step calendar to personal growth and spiritual growth. Using 20 symbols. You can think of it like a crystal that has 20 sides to it. And it's all different facets of the same energy. Then you combine that with the 13 lunations, 13 pulses, you have a 1320 energy, which all of nature resonates to. And so right now we're using this Gregorian calendar that doesn't have much meaning, and that we're out of step with this 13 pulse. And so, because we're out of step with it, dissonance occurs. And so, basically, when you look at this little donut here, you see that on the outside you have very large waves, and on the inside very small waves, meaning that they're all pushed together. So this just shows you can just be on one place and just cycle through it, and you always come back to the same place. Also, he also shows on this all the alphabets of the world are on this little donut. Meaning that if you could see through this and see that little golden mean spiral, depending on how you tilted it and saw its shadow, you'd come up with every letter of the alphabet. So this tool, this book, this information is going to revolutionize the teaching of science in the classrooms over the next 10 years.
So what that's basically saying is that originally
You can pass this around.
we had vibration. And from vibration came language, and then everything else began to develop. And so if we can get back down to the vibration, the pure vibration, the way I see it, we can begin to communicate telepathically. Again, and connect with each other energetically through the wave of life that connects everybody and everything, because we're all the same. We just learn how to be separate. So part of what the convergence is all about, and the shifting that we're going through, as I see it, is getting back to a level where we all connect and interweave, and we all become one. And I feel personally that you can still separate out and have individuality, but that we're not banging up against each other all the time. We're not, we're coming from the spiral that is harmonious, not the ones that create this. So that doesn't feel so good to me. Some people like it.
That's right. When you graph out love, when you touch someone, it's very gentleness, and so you could actually put it on a graph and see the mathematical ratio that's there for love, and that's the golden mean spiral. When you're angry with someone, it happens very quickly, and it shifts the mathematics of what's just occurred. So what's interesting is now we have science to prove that our hearts resonate information to all the cells of our body. It's like a garden hose. It sends information down our nerves. It sends information through the bloodstream, through these vibration patterns. Each one of us could connect. We could connect a heart monitor to each one of us, and there would be a certain vibration that each of us is beating to right now, a specific frequency. And you can put that on an oscilloscope and actually see its form, its relationship that you're sending out to all the cells in your body. So part of this time shift, part of this convergence is about this information coming into greater use on the planet in all different forms, from science to building to many different things. The whales communicated in the ocean anywhere on the earth to each other before the building of ships, because we introduced noise into the ocean. They all communicate, any whale could communicate anywhere else on the planet to any other whale through low frequency sound waves. And once we entered noise into the ocean, we cut them off from our source. We've done the same things to ourselves by our building codes, by the way we've structured our civilization. So we can cut each other off from our energies. That's why it's easier to communicate. You can hear me in a room, but go down the street and see if you can do that. So part of this resonance, part of this convergence is the acknowledgement of the 13-20 ratio, which is going to revolutionize teaching, which is going to revolutionize our science. When we start working with tones, when we tone, and we work with these tones in our bodies, they create health in our immune systems. Colors affect us in a certain way also. Symbols affect us in a certain way also. So this is what the convergence is about. It's not only about planting your feet in the dirt and connecting with that vibration of love and connecting with the earth and feeling its love and making that a resonant feeling and putting out our prayers and our meditations for the healing of the earth. That's one part of it. And then it's watching these manifestations occur over the next couple of years until harmonic convergence number 3 in 1996. So when you look at this that I'm going to pass around, you'll see that 1987 was a white year. July 26 was a white day. Like tomorrow, today is a white year. Tomorrow is a storm day. Tomorrow's July 26. The energy for the day is 13 storm. Cosmic storm, which means self-generation. And so we're on an overtone from 1987. This year is a white year. Tomorrow begins a blue year because it's going to be a blue day. So the Mayans work with 4 colors: red, white, blue, yellow. Remembering that right now we're using a calendar that kind of tells us, what our birthdays are, and what our anniversaries are, and what our days of the week are. And it has that meaning. We're not going to give it up. We're not going to just toss out the Gregorian calendar. It will always be useful to us. But this is an opportunity to begin working with the most resonant natural calendar on the planet. And so then we have these 4-year cycles. 1987, then we come up to 1991. We're going to have another convergence in 1996. We're switching from the white to the blue. And when I pass this around, you'll see that. We're in these we're in these shift points between the white year and the blue year. You'll also notice that of the 13, the colors on the corners are the same. That's what makes them powerful. So we're in a white year, which began in 1987, which is then mirrored over into this year, 1991. We're still in 1991 year, because the new year doesn't begin until tomorrow. At the end of today, we want to look up your Mayan birthday. And once you know your birthday, you'll have your tribe of that you're a part of. And its power. These symbols, the top one is the symbol, the name of it. The bottom one, like for the storm, it says self-generation. That's the power of the tribe. The bottom line on each of these is the power of the tribe. And then the middle word, like catalyzes, which means acceleration, is the action of the tribe. Now keeping in mind that these are just 2 words to help you access the symbol. Symbols are important. It's just access words. You have to kind of play word association. You see how your spiritual landscape interacts with the meaning of those words. They're just words to get you into it. And when you read the game, the Dream Flow game, you realize it's very general. It's meant to be very general, so that you use it in the way that you want to use it. It's not dogma. There's a certain system that's there, but it's up to you to use your interpretation. And so we're working with a 260-day calendar. Today we're 39 days into this particular energy. And from that energy field, we begin to have a relationship with these 260 days. I'm 34 years old. Because it's a 260-day calendar, I have experienced 50 of these spins. And so today, I'm experiencing for the 50th time with this energy. And because each of us, if you haven't used it yet, what's happened is that we've been dissonant. We haven't been paying attention to the cycles. So what shows up for us is a reflection out of all those other 50 or so or less days that we've imprinted. Now, keeping in mind that what we do is a reflection, it's an actual wave of energy. Like today, what we do, the prayers, we go on the land, whatever we choose to do, reflects because it goes out in all directions. The sun is going through the sky, the earth is going around it in a spiral. What we do today reflects in time and space. And so then the earth goes through that time matrix and interacts with that energy. That's why things repeat. That's why there's patterns. That's why there's cycles. That's why what we recognize as cycles are the seasons. They seem to come back, but they're a little bit different. Depending on how well we've nurtured our environment, they come back healthier than not. So this is the same idea, is how we nurture and interact with our natural calendars. So part of what the gaming of this game, this board game is to find the other members of your tribe. Once you look on the Mayan calendar and find your symbol, and you're born within a 13-day period. So then you look to find what those other 12 tribes are. And you also look to see what those other 13 tones are. I'm an 8th galactic skywalker, which means that I'm born on the 8th day of a 13-day energy field. So then part of my game is to find the other 12 members and find their tones, get them together for like a tribe reunion. Also on this board game, one of the first things that Sherry's doing is that we're using this little dial to access third-dimensional time, Gregorian, into fourth-dimensional Mayan. The little ephemeris on the back to look it up. And you just move these dials around. Mayans didn't have this. This is an invention. It's part of the. Once you know that, then you're within the 260-day time period. And because, let's say I'm a red, so that means that my opposite color is blue. So blue days are challenging to me. And then there's relationships with the white and the yellow.
So you can use the whole system practically to track which days are going to be beneficial to you if you're trying to create something, manifest something. You actually want to bring something into form. You can follow these tones of creation, envision a particular project, an idea, something, and work with the vibrations to help manifest it. And you can see which days are appropriate to do things and which days might be better to sit out. Every day you're going to learn. You're going to learn regardless of what you do. It's just if you have a particular thing that you want to create, it helps to work with the energies instead of against them. And if you're working against them, then eventually you learn that you want to try to work with them. So that's the practical reason.
You can use it with the mundane. You put your own issues into a 13-day energy. And there's a specific meaning for each of those 13 days. Or you can put the symbols in. You know, the symbols show up every day with a tone, and with a 13 in each symbol. So there's an esoteric meaning that comes out, and you learn what each of those 13 days are about, and you see that there's 20 cycles of 13. So you got 20 different meanings to do whatever you need to do. After you've looked up your day on the calendar, you go to this board. And what this board shows you is it's like a musical chord. You know, there's certain sounds that sound good together. Certain tribes that work well together. This gives you that information. And on the back of the board, it shows you the meaning of the 13. The very first day, you identify your purpose. You unify your purpose. You know, just like coming into this world, you discover what your purpose is. The second day, number 2, lunar day, first day is magnetic. It's an attractive energy. The second day is the lunar energy. It's polar. What's the opposite? What are my challenges? You realize that any time you have a goal, naturally you have an opposite challenge to it. So there's cycles within cycles. This year is a 13 year. So July 26 is a 13. Next year it's a number 1, seed. So next year we're going to be finding new targets, and new flowering that comes out of this. So the whole idea behind this, as you can see, I'm just using word association for these symbols and these images. And these 13 matches the octave, it matches the musical scale. If you were to look at the progression of energy on a musical scale, you would see it build until number 11, and then it would bop and check and weave. And so this does mirror the energy flow of patterns and then the release of that as you go into the next octave. And so then you're able to work with a natural cycle. This will work for you. It's worked for us, and we wouldn't be out here talking about it unless we worked with it for a couple of years. We began teaching this in 1989. We began studying the calendar in 1987. So part of this game then is, on the back it does tell you how the meaning of these energies. And on the back of this board, it tells you other arrangements. Just like there's different compositions of music, there's different arrangements of the tribal energies on the earth. And this is to empower your meditation and your toning. Part of this is you have relationships with clans and earth families. This board here shows you that 20-sided earth force that we talked about earlier. There's exact locations on the earth where there are strong and weak pulsation points where the energy comes out of the earth. And they're right there. And they're listed in the Dreamspell game book, so you know exactly where they are. And part of the game is to set up resonant teams on these particular points. These are very powerful points on the planet. And when you get into these type of arrangements, working with this grid, you have tremendous planetary synchronicity. When you have matrix teams on these points and we're pulsing with love, with intention, to heal ourselves and the planet, it's just like having a pool of water and you throw your stones in it. If you throw them in the right places, everything resonates really wonderfully. That's part of the game, is to create these teams and to go to different places on the planet for different purposes. And we'll see that over the next couple of years. Here are some different other arrangements of the tribes. This is a planetary arrangement. This is a root race arrangement. You notice that there's different colors here, but there's 4 primary colors. I'm a Skywalker, I'm red, so I have a relationship with all the other red ones. Okay? And when I get together with my other red tribe members, there's resonance there. See, we've been doing prayer and meditation, just hit and miss by our intuitions. Now we have the key to really do it powerfully. And when, like today, and in our workshops, when we sit and we meditate, we resonate. This creates an example, and it flows out to the whole planet. It does, because it's a holistic field that we live in. Then this board shows the relationship of time, and this shows the relationship of the tribe with the inputting of the human body. So that's the game of knowing what your tribe is, knowing what your tone is, knowing what your birth wave spell is, knowing what your color is, knowing how that interacts within 260 days. Observing yourself over that period of time. That's what that game is. Now you don't need it. You do not need this calendar. You don't need anything other than to love without judgment and to bring light into your body and ground it into the earth. But it's a great tool to find these resonances. It's a great tool to find days like harmonic convergences. So today, when we get together in prayer, when you go out onto the land today and tomorrow, you will meditate and pray for the planet, to envision, use your real eyes to see these changes coming with love and with success in our communities, in our families, within ourselves. It's a vibration pattern. We haven't realized that our thoughts are vibration patterns also. And so what we combine in one big grouping like this is very strong. And then it begins to manifest over time, over these next couple of years, until harmonic convergence in year 3. So that's what it is. It's finding resonance within our hearts, resonance within groups, knowing how to set up these group patterns successfully, very easily. It's exciting information. It's the only calendar out there that matches the table of the elements in the musical scale. And so we're going to spend the next couple of years developing groups all across the country, watching this occur. You know, and Sherry and I, we come from our own disciplines. I grew up Episcopalian, she grew up Jewish. We both share that with our families. We're not out here promoting Mayan science and religion. But what we want to bring is this system, and that you can use this system for your own personal growth. And then from that, people want to explore other ways with this type of a game. We just want you to know that that's out there. And that's the real key, is how to bring this in to awareness so that people that are tired of not having a calendar that means anything can use something, and to make it non-dogmatic, non-cultural, so they can use it in an improvable way.
It's like when love's around, anything can be healed. It's like this ease is a denial inside of us. Cancer's hate. Okay, like we hold hate so intensely that it forms a tumor in our body, and it eventually tears us down and kills us. If we're always full of love and we draw on love every day in our life, death is not a reality that I choose to experience. It's not a reality we have to experience. We can take this vehicle that we angelic beings are operating in, and we can take this beyond what we perceive to be a limitation of life. Death's an illusion. I've died twice in this body. I can't get out of it. I expect to be here for 1,000+ years. I will metamorphosize the body, as many of those who are part of the tribe of the Phoenix will do. They will make atatomic increases in vibration, cyclic rate. If we increase our atoms more than 10 cycles a second, you can't see us no more. If we increase it to 1,000 cycles a second, we're in fourth dimensional frequency, and we are on a planet where this third dimensional reality doesn't exist. In the New Age, when the perception of an eagle proceeds through time and space, what humanity does to the planet right now is totally irrelevant to what happens in a fourth dimensional reality. Because once this play is over, and this play that humanity is going through must be played out so it doesn't have to be played out in another world, then we can come and purify the planet, restore everything back to original essence. The purification of fire is actually the purification of illuminated light that transmutes everything back to original essence, so that those of us who transform into a higher vibrational frequency, a physical form that can photosynthesize sunlight directly. The ozone depletion is not an accident. It's forcing humanity to evolve, because humans will not be able to live on the planet in 60 years. So we have to bring the body to a higher vibrational rate so that it can photosynthesize sunlight and receive its nourishment from Father. Sun is the essence of light in this particular star system. Okay? Flesh is the mother, thought is the father. We are Father, Mother, God, joined as one in a unique personification of creation.
Let's go down here. Let's go down here.
May the Most High Holy Being be here with us now, and may our prayers be heard. May the Masters of Light and Wisdom be with us in our circle. Help us show how to work with these energies. We must say Om 21 times. Project love. Balancing universal energies. The turquoise ray. Violet ray. In the name of the Great Spirit and the source of infinite wisdom, we invoke the energies which are available to us. We invoke the energies of planetary ascension. We invoke the energies of planetary healing. We invoke the energies of planetary peace. We ask these things in the name of the Great Spirit, truth, peace, and freedom. All right, my friends, now for a moment, let's see the energies stand in this circle.
We breathe is holy. With every breath we take the air. We breathe is holy. With every breath we take. Hey, Yana, oh, Yana, hey, Yana. The earth is our mother. We must take care of her. The earth is our mother. We must take care of her. Hey, Yana, oh, Yana, hey, Yana. Hey, Yana, oh, Yana, hey, Yana. Hey, Yana, oh, Yana, hey, Yana. Hey, Yana, oh, Yana, hey, Yana.
A lot of people never even heard about this harmonic convergence. There wasn't mass attendance. A lot of people heard about it later. And yet it's neat in our society to have days and times where we acknowledge that we're a society that's moving, that's changing, that consciousness is shifting. And that just because this is where mass consciousness is, I mean, if you watch the news right now, it's depressing.
Sure is.
And yet you start moving into some of this, and you start finding magic, and you start realizing that we're a lot more than what we've been told we are. And as you start finding your own potential, and you start seeing that in others, it's very exciting. And to me, the harmonic convergence was about dreaming a dream, and about seeing where I personally want to be a year from now, 10 years from now. And it should be a very limitless dream. And it doesn't matter even with the harmonic convergence over. There's still an opening in time right now, energetically, that we're moving into a time where you put something out and you get it back very quickly. So you need to get real specific in what you're going to put out. And to me, when you come together with a group, like at the harmonic convergence, and you put out a prayer for peace and for joy and for consciousness expansion, that people will expand and find their own magic. To me, that's real powerful. And that was the point of the harmonic convergence. I like the idea, Jose Arguelles talks about moving into a 13-month, 28-day calendar that would follow the moon cycles. And I really like that. I mean, that feels balanced to me. That feels like something that, why do we have 30 days and 31 days? And, that feels good to me. It feels like we'd be more in harmony with nature, with ourselves. The tides, everything is affected by the moon cycles, and why shouldn't we be more aware of those and more attuned to those?
There's an infinite number of combinations as we move forward into the new age, but there is a big change taking place on the planet, and it's coming whether anybody likes it or not. It's just on its way, and a lot of it has to do with people are not willing to do it on their own, so there is a little pushing going on. People have to be stripped of their material things to see how dependent they are on it. And the dependency is what's destroying nature. Is our utter, total dependence on this material flow of material things to exist, and the constant destruction of the environment, and we're killing ourselves that way. So I think we're at the time when people are having a problem functioning separately. It's becoming increasingly more difficult that we all need each other, and that energy is starting to come more and more, become dominant on the scene. And I think it's God's will. I think it's God's will for everyone to become in harmony and function as a unit. Maybe in some ways we already are, but it just feels like we need to do more of it. Sure is beautiful out here. It's almost like fake props, that somebody put up. These mountains, they're just so stunning. It's hard to believe that they actually exist, that it really is this way.